There are still roads on Earth where a single glance is enough to make you understand why many drivers choose to end their journey. In some places, the road is squeezed into a series of hairpin turns clinging to the mountainside. Elsewhere, roads only appear when the water recedes. Certain routes even push both people and vehicles into desolate wastelands, where cars have to crawl over boulders and up steep slopes with virtually no road at all. The deeper you go, the more dangerous every decision becomes. Keep going. Turn around. Or stop before it is too late. These are some of the most incredibly dangerous roads in the world. These are places where just looking is enough to make you terrified of getting behind the wheel. Panlong Ancient Road, China. Located on the Pamir Plateau in Xinjiang, China, the Panlong Ancient Road appears like a giant strip of asphalt folded between bare mountains. The road stretches for about 75 kilometers. The most famous 36-kilometer section alone contains over 600 S-curves and U-turns. From above, the near 180-degree loops stack into multiple layers, turning the vehicles below into tiny toys. Some turns have a radius of only about 10 meters, while the incline exceeds 10%. Although the path is paved and equipped with guardrails, you still have to constantly ride the brakes, turn the steering wheel, and immediately change direction. Winter is even more dangerous. Snow blankets the mountainside, and ice can completely cover both sides of the road, making every curve much more unpredictable. Panlong is so beautiful that it looks like it was created by graphics software. But when you are behind the wheel, this is the kind of journey that makes you think twice before driving it yourself. Leh Manali Highway, India. The Leh Manali Highway connects Manali in the state of Himachal Pradesh to Leh in Ladakh, northern India. The long route cuts through the Himalayas and multiple mountain passes at an altitude of nearly 4,900 meters. For the first few kilometers, the asphalt is wide, flat, and looks no different from a normal highway. But the deeper you go, the more the terrain changes. The road begins to twist into a series of curves, squeezing under protruding cliffs before narrowing right up to the edge of a ravine. Guardrails gradually disappear, while large trucks still have to navigate on a road just wide enough to pass through. When the snow melts, the road surface turns into mud, rubble, and freezing puddles. In some sections, ice covers the mountainside, and a deep abyss opens up right next to your wheels. The Leh Manali Highway does not scare you right from the starting point. It waits until you are deep inside the Himalayas to truly reveal its harsh nature. North Yungas Road, Bolivia. Stretching nearly 70 kilometers deep into the Andes Mountains, the North Yungas Road was manually carved by Paraguayan prisoners of war in the 1930s. It connects the La Cumbre Peak at an elevation of 4,650 meters to the dense jungle region of Coroico. The road is a mere 3 meters wide, has no guardrails, and is sandwiched between landslide-prone cliffs and a 600-meter deep abyss. Thick fog and waterfalls crashing directly onto the muddy road sometimes reduce visibility to less than 2 meters. In the past, this route claimed the lives of about 300 people every year. The worst tragedy occurred in 1983, when a bus plunged into the ravine, killing 100 people. However, it is this extreme danger that has turned North Yungas into a mecca for mountain bikers. They come here not only to conquer nature, but to feel the precious pulse of survival as clearly as possible. Zojila Pass, India. Some roads are not made for you to relax, but to test human nerves. Zojila is one of them. Located in Jammu and Kashmir, India, this mountain pass connects the lush green Kashmir Valley with the cold, dry Ladakh Plateau. It is only about 9 kilometers long, but every single meter carries a psychological weight. At an altitude of 3,528 meters, the air is thinner, the wind is stronger, and the road is suffocatingly narrow. On one side is a sheer cliff, and on the other is a wide open abyss. The dirt and rocky road is bumpy, slippery after it rains, and easily covered with snow in the winter. You do not just drive through Zojila. You have to stay calm with every roll of the wheels. Because just one small slip is enough to turn the trip into a point of no return. Stelvio Pass, Italy. At an altitude of 2,758 meters in the Italian Alps, the Stelvio Pass turns a steep mountainside into a giant maze for vehicles. The eastern side of the pass is famous for 48 consecutive hairpin turns. They are stacked in multiple layers, spinning nearly 180 degrees before instantly changing direction to the opposite side. The road has been paved and is equipped with protective guardrails. But at the narrowest corners, large vehicles almost take up both lanes entirely, forcing oncoming traffic to stop and wait. The higher you go, the more the trees disappear. Rubble covers the mountainside, low clouds spill across the road, and snow can persist even when the valley below has entered summer. Stelvio is not scary because of deteriorating road conditions. It is the dozens of rapid-fire curves and the empty drop beyond the guardrail that give drivers not a single second to lose focus. Lingpaishi Village Road, China. Sandwiched between two massive rock formations in Wuxi County, Chongqing, Lingpaishi looks like a concrete staircase built straight up a cliff. The entire route is about 3.7 kilometers long. connecting the Tianping residential area with Provincial Highway 201. But the most mind-boggling part lasts only a few hundred meters, where 18 hairpin turns are squeezed into an incredibly narrow rock crevice. Short segments of the road lie on top of each other. At the end of one level, cars have to make a complete turnaround to climb to the next tier. High retaining walls hide the vehicles moving right above or below. To outsiders, this is a bizarre piece of engineering to observe from above. To local residents, it is the only way out to reach schools, hospitals, and the rest of the region. Instead of taking you along the edge of the mountain, Ling Paishi forces the car to constantly zigzag inside a rock crevice that seemingly does not have enough room to fit a road. Black Bear Pass, USA. Black Bear Pass is not a road for a regular sedan. This is an off-road trail strictly for four-wheel drive vehicles, cutting through the San Juan Mountains above the town of Telluride, Colorado. The majority of the initial journey is just a rocky dirt road amidst alpine meadows. Then, the road suddenly drops into an area known as the Steppes. The wheels have to get over large rock steps covered in loose gravel. Right after that is a series of hairpin turns so narrow that many vehicles cannot complete the corner in just one turn. The hardest section is about a mile long and only allows one-way traffic down the mountain. Below is Bridal Veil Falls, while right next to the edge of the road is a steep slope plunging straight toward Telluride. What makes Black Bear so stressful is not just the terrain. It is the moment you realize you have passed the point of no return, and the only way forward is to keep going down. Daobeiliang Sky Road, China. Instead of being carved into a mountainside, the Daobeiliang Sky Road runs right on top of a narrow mountain ridge in Shizhou County, Chongqing. From above, the concrete road looks like a brightly colored knife blade placed between forested mountain ranges. Both sides drop off sharply, leaving the car with no visual anchor other than the strip of road ahead. Some sections are only just wide enough for two small vehicles to pass each other. Low guardrails run close to the edge, while the curves completely hide cars coming from the opposite direction. When clouds roll in, the boundary between the road and the thin air becomes much harder to see. The wind turbines appearing on the mountain peaks only further highlight how wildly exposed this area is. Van Zil's Pass, Namibia. In the remote Kauko land region of Namibia, Van Zil's Pass feels more like an ox cart trail through rocks than a properly constructed road. The mountain pass is about 15 kilometers long, dropping from the Otjihipa Plateau down into the Marienfluss Valley. It is only suitable for four-wheel-drive vehicles and is generally traveled in one direction from east to west. The road surface is interrupted by boulders, deep ruts, and natural steep steps. In some spots, the car leans heavily to one side, while the remaining wheels have to find traction amidst the rubble. There are no houses, service stations, or easily accessible rescue routes around. A minor breakdown in the middle of this area can turn into hours of being stranded under the scorching heat. Spiti Valley Road, India. The road into the Spiti Valley is carved directly into the arid mountainsides of the Himalayas, where rocks, dust, and deep ravines dominate the entire landscape. In some parts, the road is wide enough and paved. But just a few kilometers later, the asphalt disappears, giving way to loose gravel, rockfalls, and a path only wide enough for a single car. On one side is a mountain wall with frequent falling rocks. The other side plummets down to a raging river at the bottom of the valley. Guardrails appear inconsistently, meaning the edge of your tires is often just a very short distance away from empty space. When the snow melts, water washes right across the road and hides the rocks underneath. After heavy rain, the entire route can be cut off by mud or landslides. Spiti does not have just one single dangerous spot for you to get past and then breathe a sigh of relief. The harsh terrain just keeps repeating after every curve, deeper and further into the Himalayas. Cañón del Pato, Perú. Cañón del Pato appears where the Santa River squeezes itself between the Cordillera Blanca and the Cordillera Negra, two parallel mountain ranges in the Ancash region of Peru. To carve a road through the canyon, people had to drill dozens of tunnels directly into the rock. Many tunnels are only 1 lane wide, unlit, and curved enough to completely obscure the exit on the other side. Between the tunnel entrances, the road hugs the cliff face and then opens up right above the river. Some sections have no guardrails, while fallen rocks can be scattered across an already very narrow road. When two vehicles meet, there is no room to pass inside the tunnel. The light disappears, engine noise echoes off the rock walls, and the driver cannot know what awaits ahead. The journey on Cañón del Pato is a continuous series of holding your breath. You barely escape one dark tunnel before the entrance to the next one appears right on the edge of the cliff. Los Caracoles, Chile, and Argentina. On the Chilean side of the route connecting Argentina to the Los Libertadores Pass, Los Caracoles climbs straight up the Andes via a series of curves stacked tightly together like a spring. Short stretches of asphalt run across the mountainside, turn nearly 180 degrees, and then continue on a higher level. Viewed from the air, the entire route looks like a giant ladder placed on barren terrain. The road surface is relatively good, but long trucks have to take up most of the curve to swing their bodies around. As a result, the vehicles behind them are forced to constantly slow down, creating a slow, crawling line of cars in the middle of the mountains. In the winter, heavy snow and bad weather can force the border crossing to restrict its operating hours or close the route completely to ensure safety. Weber D915, Turkey. Not every route with a national highway designation is a fully completed road. The D915 in northeastern Turkey is the clearest example of this. The route connects the area near the Black Sea with Bayburt province, cutting through high mountain terrain that is frequently covered in fog, rain, and snow. The most terrifying part is the Derebaşı section, featuring 13 incredibly sharp curves. Some corners are so tight that long vehicles cannot make the turn in one go, forcing the driver to pull forward, back up, and then readjust their direction right on the edge of a steep slope. Guardrails are virtually non-existent. The road is narrow, rubble lies close to the tires, and the empty space on the outside drops all the way down to the valley below. On the D915, surviving one curve does not mean you are safe. Sometimes, the real challenge is finding enough space to complete the next turn. Skardu Road, Pakistan. Between Jaglot and Skardu, the road runs deep into Gilgit-Baltistan, clinging to the arid cliffs above the Indus River. Many sections have now been widened and paved much better than before. But the surrounding terrain remains completely unchanged. On one side is sheer rock, while the other side drops down toward the churning water rushing through the canyon. Blind curves hide the road ahead. Trucks and buses must travel extremely close to the cliff wall, while rocks falling from the mountainside can suddenly appear right in the middle of your lane. Heavy rains also trigger landslides, rockfalls, and flash floods, causing this vital transportation route to sometimes be completely blocked off for hours or even days. Skardu Road might get upgraded, but the mountain is still the one deciding whether your journey gets to continue or not. Fairy Meadows Road, Pakistan. The name Fairy Meadows evokes images of peaceful pastures at the foot of Nanga Parbat. But the road that takes you close to that place is the exact opposite. From the Raikot Bridge area, jeeps start climbing up a narrow dirt and rock path cut across the mountainside. There is no flat asphalt surface. There are no clear lanes. And there are almost no guardrails on the outside. The wheels constantly bounce over rocks, water ruts, and stretches of loose dirt. At the corners, the front of the vehicle seems to jut out over the edge of the road before the driver can fully turn the steering wheel. This is also not a route you can drive straight to the meadows on. When the motorable road ends, tourists still have to continue the rest of their journey on foot. Fairy Meadows Road is so terrifying that many people are more than willing to sit in the passenger seat, hand the wheel over to a local driver, and try their best not to look down at the drop beside them. Lanying Cliff Road, China. To escape their isolation, the residents of Lanying in Wuxi County, Chongqing, carved out a road for themselves right on the cliff face. The famous section of the road is about 1.2 kilometers long, chiseled through the rock by local villagers using basic tools over the course of more than 4 years. It became the sole transportation route connecting the settlement with the outside world. From a distance, the road surface looks like a thin slice running across a massive block of stone. Above is an overhanging cliff. Below is a sheer vertical gorge. The curves hug the terrain tightly, with many sections only wide enough for a single vehicle to pass. If two cars meet, one side might have to reverse until they can find a wider stretch of road. G315 National Highway, China. The G315 does not cling to cliff faces or hang over the edges of ravines. Its challenge comes from a completely different kind of terrain. The national highway stretches from Xining toward Kashgar, crossing the Qaidam Basin and vast desert regions in western China. At the famous U-shaped section in Qinghai, the asphalt plunges into a depression and then shoots straight up toward the horizon. The compressed perspective makes the slopes look almost completely vertical. When a car crests the hill, the opposite side of the road can completely disappear from sight. Many tourists even stop or stand right in the middle of the traffic lanes to take pictures, forcing authorities to issue frequent traffic safety warnings. On the G315, the danger does not lie at the bottom of a ravine. It might be speeding toward you from the other side of a hill that you cannot even see yet. Hindustan-Tibet Highway, India. In Kinnar, the Hindustan-Tibet Highway is squeezed into a fragile space between the Himalayan cliffs and the Sutlej River below. Many sections of the road are carved deep into the mountain, creating giant rock roofs that hang right over the roofs of the cars. When viewed from afar, vehicles look as if they are driving through a thin groove in the cliff wall. The road surface can narrow unexpectedly at corners. Guardrails appear inconsistently, while trucks and buses still have to pass each other in places where there is absolutely no extra room. The rainy season makes the journey much more unpredictable. Falling rocks, landslides, and road cave-ins can block off the entire route, isolating Kinnar and Spiti from the rest of Himachal Pradesh state. You do not just have to keep an eye on the cliffs when driving on the Hindustan-Tibet Highway, you also have to ask yourself if the road ahead is still intact after the most recent downpour. Vitim Bridge, Russia. In the middle of remote Siberia, an old steel frame covered in wooden planks is still doing the job of a bridge for cars. That is the Vitim Bridge. This pathway stretches across the Vitim River with a surface made simply of wooden planks laid directly onto the girders. It is only about 1.8 meters wide, which is barely the width of a car itself. There are no guardrails. There is no safety shoulder. You have to keep all your tires exactly on the narrow wooden section, while the freezing water runs right beneath you. Ice and snow only make the planks even more slippery. Crosswinds blow fiercely across the river's surface, and turning around in the middle of the bridge is completely impossible. Atlantic Ocean Road, Norway. Instead of avoiding the sea, the Atlantic Ocean Road charges straight through, where tiny islands face the North Atlantic Ocean head-on. The 8.3-kilometer route connects rocky outcrops and small islands using 8 bridges. The most prominent is the Storsisundet Bridge, which curves sharply upward and seems to just disappear when viewed from certain angles. In calm weather, the wide and flat asphalt makes everything look pretty easy. But the scene changes incredibly fast when a storm rolls in. Wind lashes against the side of the car. Massive waves crash into the rocks, launching seawater up onto the bridge and completely blurring visibility through the windshield. There are 0 obstacles around to reduce the force of the wind. This road was built to conquer the ocean. But on days when the weather turns ugly, it is the ocean itself that gets to decide if you still want to keep going. Ashima-Ohashi Bridge, Japan. From the city of Sakai Minato, the Ashima-Ohashi Bridge looks like an asphalt wall standing straight up into the sky. The bridge spans Lake Nakaomi, connecting Tottori Prefecture to Shimane, and rises to a height of nearly 45 meters so that ships can pass underneath it. When viewed through a telephoto lens from a distance, the compressed perspective makes the bridge deck look almost vertically steep. The cars ahead look like they are crawling up to the peak of a roller coaster track. In reality, the the maximum gradient is only about 6.1% on the Shimane side and 5.1% on the Tottori side. There are proper guardrails, the road is wide, and traffic flows completely normally. Eshima Ohashi is not the highly dangerous bridge that internet photos lead many people to believe. But when you drive right up to the bottom of the incline, the optical illusion ahead is still enough to make you unconsciously tighten your grip on the steering wheel. Passage du Gois, France. The Passage du Gois was not destroyed by the ocean. It was designed to literally disappear beneath the sea twice a day. The roughly 4.2-kilometer-long road connects the mainland to the island of Noirmoutier, running across a low strip of land that only becomes clearly visible when the tide goes out. During the safe window, cars can travel on a road surface still covered in water, seaweed, and mud. But when the tide returns, water starts flooding in from both sides and quickly submerges the entire path. Rescue towers have been erected along the route so stranded people can climb up and wait for help. The car below, however, might have to be abandoned to the seawater. At the Passage du Gois, the road surface does not warn you that danger is approaching. The thing you need to watch is the clock, because if you head out even a little too late, your road back home will simply cease to exist. Skipper's Canyon Road, New Zealand. Not far from Queenstown, Skipper's Canyon Road is carved out as a narrow ledge on a sheer vertical cliff. The dirt road, spanning dozens of kilometers, was hand-carved by gold miners over a century ago. Many sections still maintain the exact same cramped shape of the original route. The road is only just wide enough for one vehicle. Loose rocks lie right beneath the tires, blind curves completely block your line of sight, and the outer slope plunges straight down into the Shotover River. When encountering oncoming traffic, a driver might have to reverse through multiple curves just to find a spot to pull over. Just looking into the rearview mirror at that moment is enough to cause immense stress. Skipper's Canyon does not force you to drive fast or tackle massive off-road obstacles. It forces you to perform every normal driving maneuver in a place with virtually zero room for error. Karnali Highway, Nepal. The Karnali Highway is about 232 kilometers long, connecting the lowlands of Nepal to the remote communities around Jumla. On a map, this is a vital transportation artery. In reality, many sections are just a narrow strip of road winding between mountainsides, sheer cliffs, and deep rivers flowing far below. The road surface can switch from asphalt to rubble and potholes after just a short distance. Buses, trucks, and motorcycles still have to pass one another on stretches that only have enough room for a single lane. The rainy season poses the biggest challenge. Water erodes the roadbed, debris slides down from the mountainsides, and massive landslides can cause the entire region to lose its road connection entirely. Taroko Gorge Road, Taiwan. Cutting straight through a marble canyon, Taroko Gorge Road is a place where the cliffs close in so tightly that the road constantly has to burrow right into the mountain itself. Paved sections hug the Liwu River, connecting to a series of short tunnels drilled directly through the rock. In some spots, the mountain roof protrudes right over your car, while the blue water flows deep below the guardrail. Every tunnel entrance creates a sudden change in lighting. The moment you leave the darkness, you immediately hit a sharp curve, a rock wall, or another tunnel dead ahead. But the most unpredictable danger comes from above. The steep terrain and highly unstable geology make falling rocks a constant threat, especially after an earthquake or heavy rain. Taroko is so unbelievably beautiful that it is easy for drivers to look around. Meanwhile, the things that need the most careful attention are the road surface and the massive rocks hanging right overhead. Every single road you just went through seems to leave behind unforgettable stories about human courage and our absolute limits. If you had to pick one place to get behind the wheel yourself, which road would you choose? And do you think you have enough courage to conquer it? Let us know your thoughts down below, and do not forget to hit like and subscribe to continue exploring the most unimaginable journeys in the world. See you next time.